Hey guys, how's it going? If you've been following along with the philosophy series or playlist of videos, however it gets organized, you'll notice that I start the videos off with the context of fighting and or training phrase. And that's really important because that's outlining what we're talking about. And training relating to fighting or fighting as it relates to fighting, any form thereof. So, what we're talking about today is disciplines, because in my mind, fighting is its own discipline, be it firearms, concealed carry, home defense, military, law enforcement, security, any degree thereof. That is a martial skill in my mind, and that's under the discipline of fighting. Other things that go with that, because this is a skill, right? Firearms is a skill in that discipline, and there's varying degrees of skill with different firearms and different applications thereof. But they also, you can say the same thing about striking, any striking martial arts. So boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai or otherwise, things like that. Then you've got grappling, stand up or on the ground grappling, be it jiu-jitsu, judo, whatever the case may be. Those are all skill sets of fighting, the fighting discipline. The fighting discipline is my preferred one. I enjoy it the most. I think it's one of the most important because no matter what else you know, what else you can do, be it survival based or medical based, if you can't protect yourself and the people you care for to let them do or let yourself do what else you know how to do, then that can be taken away in a blink of an eye and then it amounts to nothing. So this is the one I'm the most fond of for that reason. Though these are all extraordinarily important and they're not really better or worse than the other, they're just different because they apply differently. So, with that being said, the fighting discipline I've pretty much talked about. Now let's talk about your medical discipline. Your medical discipline could be anything from first aid, CPR, to knowing how to use an AED, to knowing how to treat, more severe wounds that aren't necessarily life-threatening at the moment, illnesses per se, and then all the way up into trauma that's life-threatening or greater, right? This is not my main discipline. I'm not the most versed at it, but I understand enough to be adequate for where I am right now. And that's not going to be a forever thing, but for right now, I feel okay in this area. Here, less okay, but still kind of okay is where I feel I belong or feel my skill levels at in the survival discipline. Because depending on where you spend your time, what you do, what your activities are, if you're never going to be, or you can virtually guarantee you won't be anywhere that will leave you more than 2 or 3 days without supplies, then odds are you're going to be fine, especially if you live in a big city, especially if XYZ factor, right? It's all about your lifestyle. And that's what all these amount to, okay? Disciplines are areas that skills fall into, different skills, degrees of skills, and competency. So what you have to do is you have to think to yourself and prioritize what is the most time sensitive or applicable skills or disciplines that I need to focus on to study. Because if you're like me, I have a regular 9 to 5 job plus everything I'm doing here. Some guys work even more hours than that. Some guys work more hours than that and they have family. Some guys have an hour drive to work and back from work. Then they got to work out because fitness and nutrition is its own discipline entirely. So you got to really, really hone in on what you are going to focus on and what you are going to give your time and invest your time into for the skills you think you need. Now, that's all going to be dependent upon what you really think you need in your lifestyle, where you live, what you do in your day-to-day job, outside of work and your hobbies. All these factors go into play. But what you have to do is prioritize what is the most important thing for me to know right now, focus on that, and move down the list in order. And over time, you will develop a very wide or very refined skill set for whatever you're trying to do. Because let's say you have little to no desire for any of this, but you understand that it's a possibility and you were adequate for your lot in life, your job, your environment, what have you. Let's say it's this. Let's say you're not all into, fighting or protection or any crazy scenario where a gun would come into play, or edge weapons, or empty-handed grappling. Let's say that's not your thing, you don't care for it, but you understand that it's pretty important. Then you're going to put some time into this, and in my opinion, maybe a little bit of this comes before all the other ones because this lets you protect everything else. But you're not going to be the guy like me spending a lot of time and money traveling across the country, taking classes from lots of instructors to get really good at this because it's not your thing. And that's fine. None of this is to say this is better or worse, or you're making a better or worse decision based off what you want or what you're focusing on. As long as you're putting your time into developing a skill here or a skill there and working on all these disciplines, becoming better as a whole, that's progress, and that's really what matters. So, with that being said, I'm going to end it here. Just want to get that concept out because I talked about this a lot because this is my thing, and other guys may come along on the channel and talk about other parts later on, but for right now, this is the main focus because this is really what I am into the most. But that doesn't take away from anything else, so keep that in mind. Because training is training across the board. As always, guys, y'all take it easy, stay safe, and as always, sharpen your skills.